Hello, this is Reachfell. You can call me Andrew. And I've been promising this video about hookah physics for a while now. It's just, like I said before in the post, I got busy with med school apps and stuff. So this isn't going to be too elaborate. I'll just give you guys a talk about the basics of a hookah, how it works, and that sort of thing. And the first thing to understand is how you actually inhale. So the way to think about it is like a piston in reverse. So you take a hit, your lungs expand. It's in an open system with the hookah and the air. So what's happening is the air that's in above the water in the hookah and in the hose and in your lungs, that's all connected and it's expanding because your lungs are expanding. And that causes the pressure to drop. PV equals nRT. You decrease the volume, or increase the volume rather, decrease the pressure. And so what you're doing is you're making the pressure inside the hookah lower than atmospheric pressure until it gets to the point where the pressure difference becomes sufficient for the water to lift up and bring in air from outside the atmosphere through the coals, through the tobacco, into the hookah, and up the water into your lungs. And so the that part is pretty well known by everyone, I think, but the actual resistance that you get doing that, that's where the actual changes from hookah to hookah come in. So there's two basic types of resistances you're dealing with. There's linear drag, which is just the actual molecule sticking against the side of the wall. That doesn't do too much. That just goes directly linear with the velocity of the smoke. And then there's quadratic drag. And what that is actually the air hitting the air below it. And the reason why it's called quadratic is because it goes like the square of velocity. And so the faster your smoke goes in, the drag will increase proportional to the square of that. And so the way that changes is by the diameter of your pipe, the airflow, and by pipe I mean the actual stem of your hookah, the hose, the tubing, and that'll increase your resistance there. The other thing to consider, and what's actually made better by diffusers, is at the end of your pipe, that dictates the size of your bubbles, and so the diameter of your pipe will dictate the diameter of the bubbles. And when I said that the pressure is restored by the bubbles, it does so incrementally, and that each bubble gets your pressure back to atmospheric pressure, and so you get a lot of bubbles to actually get a good amount of smoke. A little bit amount of smoke is in each bubble. So what a diffuser does, in that sense, is breaks up the size of the bubbles by decreasing that diameter, so that for the amount of smoke you're getting, it comes from many more bubbles. And so what you're actually feeling when you hit a hookah, and there's a diffuser on this one, by the way, is you're actually feeling the pressure changes with each bubble. So big bubbles mean you're going to feel a big pressure change with each bubble, of course. So the pressure is going up, or going down. Well, it's easier to describe it the opposite way. But pressure's changing a lot, and then you get a big bubble that pops, so it drops back down, and it's pretty spiky if you were to plot it out. And so when you have a diffuser, it basically breaks all those up into smaller ones, so that you're integrating a lot of smaller bubbles to get the same pressure restoration as you would from a big bubble. And actual pressure change bubble to bubble is a lot smaller when you have it coming from individual ones, many smaller bubbles rather than just one bigger bubble, because each bubble doesn't have as much pressure behind it. And so the other thing to consider is your foil, and that'll cause some resistance as well. If you don't have that many holes in it, you'll probably feel something, but honestly, between an HMD and adequately poked foil, shouldn't change too much. And so then it goes to your bowl. So the popular style right now is the funnel bowls that the guy who made Tangiers invented way back, and all the knockoffs and whatever else that followed it, which I guess knockoffs isn't the right term. A lot of them have been very good advancements, but the reason why those are such good influences on pressure is because there's nothing occluding the actual pipe. since the tobacco is not directly on top of it. So those are very low pressure bowls. If you're using the traditional clay style, you have the tobacco right on top, then that'll impede the movement of air inside to some extent, but it shouldn't really matter too much unless you actually clog it. That's a different story, but this all boils down to the reason why people fluffy pack to begin with. So if you're using a clay bowl, no matter what you're packing, it should always be fluffy. If you're using a funnel bowl, it's not as big of a deal. That's why they were invented, because to smoke tangiers you need to be able to pack it densely. And you can't really do that in a clay bowl. It also clog it. So if you're using a funnel bowl, it's not a problem. You can dense pack. That changes the dynamics of burning, which is going to be in a different video entirely. It's much more complicated than all this. But those are just the basics on how a hookah actually works, and I should mention the purge too. So the purge in a hookah is just another port opposite the port for your hose, and so what that'll allow you to do is actually blow out without the force of the air hitting without the air hitting the tobacco. So the valve is just another port with a ball bearing inside, and when you inhale normally, the ball bearing will just plug the purge, so that you can just take your inhale as if it doesn't exist. But when you exhale, then it lifts the ball bearing and allows smoke to come out of the purge. That's how you're able to purge from the hookah. So there's actually a lot of hookahs that don't even have purges, and those are perfectly fine. You can live your life without them, but it's better to just have the option. If your hookah gets too hot, and there's a bigger issue with the clay-style bowls that have the tobacco directly on top of the holes. But sometimes if you just want to let some heat out of like a funnel type bowl they're using an HMD with, you can do that as well. Not super effective. In those cases, you're actually better off lifting the HMD from the tobacco and just blowing on the tobacco on the underside. And so the smoke coming off of it will take heat away from it, and you can cool them down that way. But the only problem with that is it really does decrease the lifetime of your tobacco in that bowl, and you're going to take some time out of the session by doing that. But if you're burning your bowl, you're better off fixing it really quickly and making sure it's a good smoke rather than just trying to have a long, shitty bowl going. So yeah, that's the basics. Again, this is a very casual video. I just started recording, had some basic thought topics to talk about. So if you guys want me to do more videos, I'll probably put more planning into them. Again, I've been busy, so this one was very casual. There's no editing or anything. But yeah, let me know if you guys like the style. This one came out to be a bit long, but next one will be more planned, and I'll take some requests on what you guys want the next session to be. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you think, and look forward to hearing from you guys. Thanks. Bye.